With just 2 regular season weeks left in the college football season and championship week coming up, there are several teams that have their tickets somewhat punched to the college football playoff and some punched to their championship games, while others are still jockeying for position not only in the college football playoff, but in their respected conference championship games, which could very well give those teams automatic bids. These stories and more on the Week 13 edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. Welcome back, all you gabbers. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on this edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. Once again, you're with the one and only Mr. CeeLo, and guys, I must tell you, it's getting really exciting. It's getting exciting, it's getting loaded, and I cannot wait. Because right now, it's coming down to the end. It is coming down to the end.
Bruh.
And we ain't got much more to go. You've got this week and next week, and then it's championship week. Really, 2 more weeks to jock for position into those championship games. But before we get into those games, which are few in this one, this will probably be one of the shortest episodes of Gridiron and Gab Triple Option in history. Right, Brad? Here's a word from today's sponsor. Guys, listen up. Guys, we now officially have our first sponsor. And it is one of my favorite products. It's called the Effing Man. He builds it, fixes it, lifts it, breaks it, then builds it again. The world calls him a man. We call him an effing man. TF Man, the lotion made for the hands that earn it. Crafted from grass-fed tallow, squalene, and grit. No flowers, no fluff, just results. You know the type. The man who shows up. The man who gets it done. The one who doesn't need a filter, a hashtag, or permission. He's not just a man. He's an effing man. How many of you know an effing man? And now he's got the lotion to match. TF Man. The whipped tallow cream from LV, made from grass-fed beef, squalane, and pure grit. No chemicals, no perfume, just hard-earned hydration for hands that build, lift, and live. LV is all-natural skincare, rebuilt for real people. TF Man, because being the effing man means taking care of your own damn skin. And guys, I'm going to tell you, make sure you go over to that website, lumavita.com. Make sure you scan the QR code. If you got to hit rewind on the show, please do so. But go over there. They got a bunch of other great stuff over there, and they're updating their website daily. So make sure you check that out. They've got 2 different codes you can use. Friends, and you'll get 20% off. I got some other things for you guys coming up in the next couple of shows. They've been giving me some new items to try. So I'm definitely going to be letting you guys know if they're good or not. I'm actually using their lip balm right now. And yeah. Guys, make sure you get your lip balm because it's about to get cold. And nobody likes crusty lips, especially the ladies. But guys, here we are. Probably going to be one of the quietest quakes in all of college football, on the brink. Not many big games, but we've got a couple of them that would have massive national championship implications as well as conference championship implications. Let's go down as we start with number one. We look at, well, number one, Ohio State faces off against number 5, Rutgers. I expect this game to be not much. Even though Raymond has, the running back for Rutgers, Raymond has 1,000 yards rushing, I'm still not going to look at this game as being anything but an opportunity for the Ohio State Buckeyes and Jeremiah Smith to pad stats, as well as Julian Sand. I have to look at Ohio State to roll, but would not surprise if I looked up about 2:30, 3 o'clock and saw that Rutgers might still be in this game, and then all of a sudden Ohio State realizes they're in a game, and then they just turn it up because, of course, they have the game next week. Then we've got number 3, Texas A&M facing off against Samford, as Indiana is off, which they've been off since their game against Oregon, I would argue. Well, can't say that. Iowa did give them a battle. But A&M's got Samford, as they probably will go to 11-0 and rest a lot of players before their showdown in Austin. Then you've got a game in which if Miami can prove their worth, more than likely they could very well catch Notre Dame, which, as if you guys watched my show, Talk Like a Champion, you'll see why this is important. But I think Miami takes care of business against Virginia Tech, but don't be surprised with this big hiring this past week of James Franklin that the Hokies, with him in house, more than likely are going to try to make an impression and get things rolling early in Blacksburg. Would not surprise me if they pulled the upset and saved all that talk that Paul Weinbaum and Stephen A. Smith did previously. Then you've got Georgia on an exhibition against 1-9 Charlotte. Look for Georgia and Gunnar Stockton and company to run the football and just try to get out of here with the fewest amount of injuries. Then you get Alabama hosting Eastern Illinois after their embarrassing defeat at the hands of Oklahoma. So I would expect that Ty Simpson and company try to get back on track, despite the fact that Oklahoma came in and didn't shut them down. They just turned them over, which is just as bad as stopping them. So I look for Alabama to try to get some kind of get back and try to put some big points up on the board, just to, give the naysayers and the critics something to talk about. Then we look at number 9, Notre Dame, who looks to win their 9th in a row as they face off against a Steve Angeli-less Syracuse, who could be at the game. I've heard many Notre Dame podcasters and YouTubers, as well as social mediaites, say that Angeli could be on the sideline, and many of the Notre Dame players are looking forward to seeing him and welcoming him back to South Bend on Senior Day. So it would be great if Irish Nation, if you guys would come out and really, really support Steve Angeli on senior night for the Irish, as well as going out there and supporting the Irish. Handle their business. Notre Dame needs to handle their business and get it done. But number 14, Vanderbilt, will host a 5-5 Kentucky game. Kentucky has not been very good. Normally you see this is a Kentucky team that can go out and just really challenge whoever is in front of them. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. I think ultimately this becomes a real ugly game that could have some serious issues for Vanderbilt if they're caught up. But I do think Diego Pavia has shown he can throw the football, and he's gotten much better throwing the ball. And I think with Kentucky not really being able to throw the football, this is going to be a game where if it gets into a dogfight, it favors Vanderbilt more than it does Kentucky. But I still see if Vanderbilt can't take care of the football, this could be a game, but I don't see it being that way. Then you've got 7-3 Texas, who's coming off their drubbing by Georgia, facing off against the 2-8 Arkansas Razorbacks, a team that has continuously made it very difficult for opposing teams to just say that they walked all over them. As you got Green and Washington. Washington is approaching 1,000 yards. Green's already thrown for over 2,500 yards on the season. But going into DKNR Stadium, Arkansas has they've done this to everybody except Notre Dame. Would not surprise me if Arkansas comes out of there with another impressive game, contrary to what Paul Weinbaum may say. This has been, whether they're at the bottom of the barrel, they just haven't executed to finish games. They've given teams fits. But if Mr. Paul Weinbaum would watch the games instead of just assuming by looking at the records, he'd know this. Then we look at the 24th ranked Tulane Green Wave facing off against the 5-5 Temple Owls. Yeah, this is a game that, I don't see Temple snoozing at because they realize this could be an opportunity to be in the college football playoff. I think Retzlaff is going to come out there and he's going to ball out. I think Temple will be able to keep it close early on. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep up that pace. It's going to be up to the crowd. I think they can focus and keep Tulane playing their type of pace. I think this could be an opportunity for Temple, but I don't see that happening. Then you've got number 12 at 8-2 Utah facing off against the 5-5 Kansas State Wildcats. Avery Johnson has been one of those guys that during the year, he always seems to pull magic out of his hat. However, this game ain't in Manhattan. And needless to say, I'm looking at Parker and the rest of that Utah Ute offense as well as that Utah defense playing in Salt Lake. Not a chance Kansas State wins this game. You're not walking into Salt Lake and beating this football team. They're just that good. And then you've got the 8-2 Michigan Wolverines and the 4-6 Maryland Terrapins. You've got quarterback Washington out of Maryland that's thrown for 2249. The only issue I have with him is he has a tendency to put the ball in harm's way. And needless to say, this could be a situation where don't be surprised, guys. I'm taking Michigan, but don't be surprised if you look up about 7:30 and you see Maryland is either winning this game or they've won this game. Now, I'm not betting on this, but it would not surprise me in the least little bit if this football team comes out and they pull off the upset. Then we've got number 23 Houston at 8-2 facing off against 6-4 TCU. Look, Houston has been up and down all season. They've includedly lost a game in their building, but I don't see that happening this week. I think TCU is a good football team, but I think the Houston defense gets the best of Hoover, and then I think Connors is going to run exceptionally well. Not to mention you got I think Connor Wigman's going to make just enough plays for this Houston team, and they put them over the top of Houston. And unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough to get them into the Big 12 title game. Then you've got a game that you could argue has a lot of meaning. Tennessee 7-3 facing off against Florida in 3-7 in the Swamp. Now, the only reason I'm not going into the critique of this one is because Florida's 3-7. But guys, I'm gonna tell you something. Florida has been extremely tough. Just like you have the Louisvilles and the Cincinnatis or even teams that play everybody close, despite being losers or not very good or the bottom of the SEC, as Weinbaum says. Your record doesn't indicate. Everybody's 0-0 when the game kicks off. Remember that? It would not surprise me with Tennessee knowing they don't have very much to play for. That they fall to the Gators. The Gators are due another big upset and one that would define their season. So I would not be surprised, but I think Tennessee is going to pull this out. But it would not surprise me if I look over or I rolled over in the morning and I see that Florida has won this game. Number 21, 7-3 Illinois faces off against 3-7 Wisconsin. Look, Wisconsin has played okay, but Illinois is one of those teams that was in the top 10, expected to be college football playoff bound. And like I said, you have people saying that the Big Ten is terrible. I disagree with that. I just think a lot of it is you got a lot of teams that are just average. And then you got the 3, maybe 2 that separate themselves. I think Illinois handles Wisconsin. Don't be surprised that the Badgers don't give that Wisconsin gives Illinois a hard time early on. Don't be surprised, people. Then you got BYU. Arguably, I could have went through this game. 9-1 being 11th ranked BYU facing off against the Cincinnati Bearcats.
I think Sorsby is arguably one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the game. This is a guy that's thrown for 22-18, 22 touchdowns, and 4 picks on the year. And when you look at what BYU does, they run the ball well with the quarterback and the running game. Cincinnati is 7-3, and they don't have anything to lose. They would like nothing more than to play spoiler to a possible Big 12 rematch between Texas Tech and BYU. However, I will say this. Do I think that Cincinnati has the horses to do it? Sure. So, believe it or not, I am going to call for the upset here. Then there's number 25, Arizona State facing off against Colorado. What? It's been a while since we talked about Colorado.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
Let's see if Deion's able to pull one out of his hat. Don't think so. Deion goes to 3-8 as the Arizona State Sun Devils go to 8-3. And the question is the coach going to be back? All right, we've got 3 matchups that Mr. CeeLo deemed worthy of critiquing. The first one, of course, is number 16 Georgia Tech at 9-1 faces off against Pittsburgh. Now, here's the problem I have with somebody like Stephen A. Smith. See, Stephen A. doesn't watch enough of these average teams, or so he thinks, to know who's really the guy. He gets a producer or whoever the heck it is to basically, in a nutshell, tell him what the do's and don'ts are of a football team, what their strengths might be, and he just does the homework that way. So to sit here and basically, in a nutshell, say that you think that Pittsburgh ain't this, or you think Georgia Tech ain't this. What if Pittsburgh goes out and knocks off Georgia Tech? See, and this is the thing I really have a problem with when people have their SEC biases. They sit here and they say, well, I look at the grind in the SEC. What grind? Ain't no grind. Ain't no different than an ACC, Big 12, or Big 10 grind. Now, I truly believe that Haynes King is going to win this game. As much as I think Pittsburgh, I look at the way Mason Heischel played last week against Notre Dame. Georgia Tech doesn't have those kind of athletes on that side of the ball. But I do think that they have Haynes King, and this crowd in Atlanta is going to be nuts because this is the first time in a while that this is a team, and I'm going to be honest with you, there's about 3 SEC schools that this team could beat in the top 25. And I can tell you 2, they beat in the playoff right now. One of them would be Oklahoma. And arguably, they beat Bama.
What the?
Don't think so? Bama can't stop nobody. Because that Oklahoma team, they ain't no way they should have scored, had 220 some odd yards on you. Matier ain't that dude. But unfortunately, when you got people that really don't watch the football games, you have a bunch of individuals that are calling this and saying, oh, this team is not worthy of this and this team ain't worthy of that. The truth of the matter is, it goes back to the very thing Stephen A. said on that show that day. He said, any team can be had on Saturday. That don't just apply to the SEC. That applies to every team. So let's not get this narrative twisted that, just because you play in the SEC, you're the only one entitled to that. Anybody can be beat on Saturday. That's everybody. Ask Tech. Ask Tech. They only been beat once. And they got beat by an NC State team that is loaded as far as the offense goes. But ultimately, I'm looking at Haynes King, and I'm looking at him as not only being, and I know people will say, well, he's really not an X factor, but he really is, because no matter what you attempt to take from him, he is the perfect adaptable character in a video game. He's that dude that he can throw for 300 and then run for 100 if you need it. He is the ultimate cheat code. because realistically, he's refined his throwing so well, and it's like Georgia Tech's offensive game plan has really started to morph, and it's looking more and more like that Georgia Tech offense that we saw last year against Georgia last year, which is very scary news for the Bulldogs, because he's had a couple of 400 and 100-yard rushing game. Insane. That's video game numbers. But I'm ultimately taking, in a close game, I think Georgia Tech's crowd, I think the people of the ATL, go ATL. I think ultimately they're going to be the difference in this game, which ultimately they could have used next week. But unfortunately, the powers that be it, Tech decided that they were going to allow this game to go and then punch their ticket to the ACC title game. Punch their tickets to the Mercedes-Benz to face off against Georgia in the clean old-fashioned hate rivalry. And as I said, I think Georgia Tech punches its ticket to the ACC title game while Pittsburgh watches its dreams go down the drain. Next, we arguably have a game in which many people, including myself, have said, how they rank where they are. Because initially, there's a lot of games that Mizzou got their ranking from that you're wondering, how did we have them ranked? But either way, let us break down Missouri versus Oklahoma, 22-8. Now, some interesting news got sent our way not more than hours ago, as Bo Pribula was given the sign or given the designation that he went from being downgraded as doubtful to now he's questionable. Now, does that mean that Mr. CeeLo is going to pick Missouri? That doesn't necessarily mean that. That just means the opportunity presents itself even clearer or more enticing that Missouri could take this game from Oklahoma. I don't even expect this guy to play. I don't expect him to. I mean, if that news leaked, that basically is one of those where Oklahoma overthinks it and they just come out with their regular guys and Mizzou goes out there and they try to pull a fast one. I think Missouri can win this game without Bo, but I think if he does dress and he's healthy, he gives them an added dimension to their offense, something that Oklahoma is not very good with. And they're going to use him to run the ball, you can bet. They're going to do everything they can to ruin this Oklahoma season. Question is, can that OU defense stand up to it? I think they can, but the question is how long? Because this is an offense that's going to run the ball. They're not going to play around like other teams are. And they're not going to be able to not throw the football. Now, however, I don't think Missouri's passing offense and Bo Pribula is going to be able to be as proficient throwing the football, which is going to be an Achilles heel. As much as I want Missouri to win this game, I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think Bo Pribula is going to be able to throw the ball efficiently enough. I think that becomes an issue. And with that, and combined with the Oklahoma crowd, I think ultimately Oklahoma is able to take this game and move on into the final weekend with their opportunity to punch their ticket to the college football playoffs still intact. But keep an eye on Hardy. He's got 1,346 yards and 15 touchdowns. But that's somewhat against inferior competition. Let's see what he can do against a supposed top-ranked defense. Just saying. By the way, my pick is Oklahoma. And Brad's pick is also Oklahoma. I almost forgot about you, old buddy. He's also took Georgia Tech. And we have all picked pretty much the same. Yeah. We pretty much picked the same. Then we go to the finale, which is the USC Trojans versus the Oregon Ducks. And me and him talked quite a bit about this game. He called me on the phone You guys, I mean, listen, if you ever get to the point where you're in Mr. CeeLo's circle, listen, you can call me, but here's the thing. I done told Brad this several times. We're going to start getting these phone calls on tape. Because Mr. CeeLo, listen, the essence of this show is conversation. That's what I like. And I think many of you who watch the show, you get tired of looking at my ugly mug just talking right at y'all. You know, I know a lot of you are just like, ooh, I want to say this. Ooh, I want to say that. Listen, I want you to. Jump in the comments. Because I got a show that's going to be great for you guys in a couple of days. I'm going to try to get this thing done and try to get it out. The hardest thing, guys, is making sure I get this thing edited. If I could ever get the editing process up, you guys, it'll be terrific. But looking at this Oregon USC game, me and Brad went round and round. And the thing what he was talking about is he thinks that USC has a well-rounded offense and that USC's clicking at the right time. Whereas Oregon, he's just not sold on. I mean, listen, I agree with what Brad is saying about not being sold on him. But realistically, as much as I want to say that USC can go and beat Oregon, if this game was in the Coliseum, you'd have my blessing. You ain't just going to walk into the zoo and beat the Ducks. That's just not going to happen. You don't just walk into the Autzen Zoo and beat them. You know, you have to have a special type of killer instinct to do that. And I don't know if Jaden Maiava has it. I know Lincoln Riley don't have it. But if his players have it, if Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane have it, which I think they're the two best players on this field. Look, Jaden Maiava is a good player, but I think between Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon, if these two guys go out there and they kill it, this is going to be a long day for Oregon. I'm not sure that they have the offense. I mean, you even look at how they played Notre Dame. This was a team that even in the rain, you saw how resilient they were. This is a very resilient football team. So, I can't believe I'm going to say this because Brad made so many good points, you guys. He really did. He was talking about how, you know, USC's running the football better and, you know, they really, really refined their passing game to when teams try to take away Lemon, that, you know, Jacoby Lane's the next guy in command. And I'm not supposed to say USC, but I am starting to. Right now, I'm on the fence. But if I had to take a Vegas pick right now, I'm going to take the Oregon Ducks right now. But if I change my mind before the editing process of this show happens, I'll let you guys know. But right now, I still think there's going to be one of those situations where Jaden Maiava makes a mistake late in this game, and on the road you cannot make mistakes. If this was the Coliseum, it's a different animal. But you cannot make mistakes in someone else's building and expect to win. So with that being said, as much as I want to lean towards the Trojans, I'm going to go with the Ducks. But guys, that's going to do it for us on this edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. Make sure you leave your comments down below, as well as making sure you leave your name and where you're from down there. Make sure you hit that bell notification when you hit subscribe and when you hit the like button so that you can get all of the shows when Mr. CeeLo drops them, as well as the shorts. Then make sure you go over to the Facebook page and the Facebook group of the same name, Gridiron Gab Triple Option, as well, and make sure you add and friend the show. Finally, make sure you go over to Instagram at Mr. CeeLo and make sure you check me out so you can keep up with all the shenanigans and things that Mr. CeeLo will be caught up with in season and off season. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.